Right, good evening. This evening in this beautiful sunshine, doing my first al fresco demo, we're going to do something that's quite nice and seasonal. So we've got some Jersey royals cooking away at the moment in the pan so that they're ready for later. And I'm going to show you how to make chicken interesting. Now, it's one of the nation's favourite meats. So we're just going to show you a really easy way to make this chicken taste amazing when you cook it at home. It's going to have a nice pancetta and white wine sauce with it, with some mushrooms as well, and we've got some wild garlic oil and some beautiful peas that have just been picked. Unfortunately not in my garden yet, they're not quite ready, so these are from down south. And we've brought along some garlic pesto as well that we made in the spring, which I can explain about also. So first of all, we've got a chicken breast that's been in brine, and we brine all our meats. And so here we go. It's been sat in the brine for 2 hours, so that it takes on the flavour that's in the brine. We've got coriander seeds, garlic, thyme, rosemary. We've got and it's made up of and peppercorn, sorry, and it's made up of sugar and salt, which is a 5% mix. So per litre you're using 50 grams of salt and 30 grams of sugar. And what that does is it helps break down the collagen fibres in the chicken, the pork, the beef, or any meat you want to use, including duck as well. But it actually helps tenderise the meats because of the collagen fibres break down. It adds flavour into it because of all the flavours you put in the brine. It also helps to sterilise it, because if you think that has been in salt, a high concentration of salt, the salt sterilises the outside, so you're actually killing any bacteria that's on the surface of the meat as well. So it's a really, really good way of doing it. So all the old-fashioned things that we used to do in the past in cooking and, pre-war and post-war, brining and pickling, they're all back in restaurants again now, because it helps us flavour with the flavours of our food, and also with the preservation as well.
Sorry, Chris, just to interrupt there. How long would you say as a minimum people should be brining their meats before cooking?
Well, it depends on the meat. So a chicken breast, because there's not a lot of fat in this, a chicken breast on its own would be 2 hours at a 5% brine. If it was a 10% brine, you knock it down by half, so you do it for 1 hour. So when I mean the 10%, think that it's like 5% is 50 grams per litre, 10% is 100 grams per litre. So your time goes down in terms of how strong your brine is. So we always say 2 hours for the chicken breast, but we'd do a little bit longer for the thighs. We'd probably go 4 to 5 hours. Large breasts like turkey on Christmas, if you're doing the whole turkey, you do it for 48 hours. If you're doing like just the lobe, we do it for 24. The same with like pork loins that we roast on a Sunday. 24 hours is perfect for that. And the same with different meats. So a duck, you go about 6 hours duck breast, because that's a nice dark meat, you see. So it does depend. Now, if anyone has any questions, they can always write to us at the Tickled Trout, and we can give them some information on how to brine and how long to brine as well. So that would be not a problem whatsoever. So I've got the cling film here that I've just pulled out ready for the chicken. And what we're going to do is, now that that's got all that beautiful flavours in, just going to add a little bit of rapeseed oil on here. And this is the Bock & Morton rapeseed oil, which is beautiful oils from Bakewell, from our friends Kate Brocklehurst and family. Amazing people that do an amazing job with their oils. So we've got some rock salt here. We're going to sprinkle on the top some twist of black pepper. We're going to add some thyme leaves on here as well. We'll just break them a little bit. And I've got some dried tarragon because I don't have any fresh at the moment, but that's fine to use. Just go easy on it though, because it is quite powerful. So the chicken breast will go now on top here. And lemon and chicken, perfect marriage. I'm going to just do a bit of lemon zest on here with a grater, and a little bit of garlic. And there you go, and we'll just scrape that off. And you can actually add any flavour you want to this. You can do it with soy sauce and ginger and anything really, anything that takes your fancy. There's no rule about what you put in here. I put in things that I enjoy the flavours of together. So, you know, you can make it a little bit more oriental, you can make it less, you can just do lemon and thyme if you want, but I do like the fact that it's got the garlic in there as well, because it really comes through. So now what we're going to do is we're going to roll it like a sausage. So we just pull the cling film towards you, nice and tight. Okay, and we'll cut that. And then that's nice and tight. So what we'll do is now we're going to just twist the ends, like so. So it is like a sausage. And then we're going to twist them over. And then we're going to wrap that in cling film one more time, so it holds its shape. And also, more importantly, it will stop the water from entering this as well. Now, in most restaurants these days, they use water baths. You've probably heard of the sous vide and water baths. We use them, of course, but we don't use it for everything. But we use it for things that we think that will help and enhance the flavour of the meat. So this is now ready, and I've got a pan on here that's coming up to the boil. But we're going to do it at sort of a tepid temperature. So we're going to just turn that up slightly now. That's on full. We're going to just drop the chicken in, and we're going to put the timer on. We're going to say 8 minutes. This is a chef's best friend, because we do so many things that if we don't have it, we will forget. And you're obviously dashing around the kitchens all over the place, and it's one of the things that's really important. The other thing that I haven't got with me today is a thermometer probe. Now you can buy these from Sainsbury's now, or Tesco's, or any supermarket. Really important to test your meats. If you're not sure, use the probe. Now, chicken needs to be 75 degrees to be sterile. It needs to hit 75 degrees for 2 to 3 seconds. This is why water baths can be a bit of a problem if you're not sure how to use them and know the time scales for sterilisation. If you're doing your roast beef joint at the weekends, think about cooking it to 55 degrees or like 52 degrees, because it will go up in temperature when it rests. But how do you know that it's 50 degrees inside without using a probe? You won't. It's difficult, even for the best of chefs. So you'll end up cooking the perfect roasts and the perfect meals for your family, and you won't end up overcooking either, because you know as soon as it's 75 degrees, that chicken, it's done. The problem we do have is that everything is overcooked, because we're told to overcook it by the companies that make these, that package things, because they have to be careful that they don't you don't undercook it, because every oven and in every household is very different. So while that's in there for 8 minutes, we're just going to let that just poach away, and in the meantime we're just going to add a little bit of the oil in here. We'll just turn that up slightly, and while that's heating up, we're going to I'll start with my shallot. So just going to cut it into fine dices. Okay. This is going to be part of the beginning of the sauce. But first we're going to add once we know this is up to temperature, we're going to add the pancetta. Now, we've got pancetta today, nicely smoked flavour. It's beautiful actually, and that's what we're going to use in this mix, but you can just add any type of streaky bacon. And that'll be nice, or just plain bacon, or you don't have to have pancetta at all. It's just that I like the flavour of the smokiness and what it gives to the sauce afterwards.
Do you use pancetta, Chris, as well because of the fat content?
Exactly.
So,
yeah, exactly that. So in goes the pancetta. Make sure your pan's warm enough so you get that sizzle. So, Jersey rolls are cooking nicely. What I like to do with my jerseys is I just like to cook them, so they're just not quite done yet. What I like to do is have them almost so they're quite firm, al dente, and then leave them to rest in the hot water. So the residual heat then cooks them through, and they just seem to be just right. I like that little bite to them as well, because You know, at this time of year, we're so lucky to have these beautiful potatoes that will come all the way from Jersey, and you get that nice seaweed flavour from them because on the south-facing banks of Jersey, the really good farmers actually lay the seaweed on top of the potatoes. So all that flavour of the seaweed goes down into the soil and into the potatoes, which makes them extra special. So here we are. So the pancetta is taking on some colour, which is good. That's what we want. And I'm going to now add our shallots. But I'm not going to allow them to take on too much colour, just to get a little bit of colour in there now, and then we'll turn this down in a moment. So we don't want them to burn. So we're going to add the white wine.
Is there any white wine in particular you'd go with?
We say in restaurants, cook with wine you like to drink, but that's not feasible when you're at home because I'd rather drink the wine than cook with it. But what I would say is just get a cheap bottle of wine just to cook with. I've always got one at home, one to cook with, one to clean up red wine spillage on my couch when I fall asleep. But actually that does work, by the way, it really does. It's got me out of jail on quite a few occasions. So now we've got the white wine in there, so we want that to reduce right down, so it's almost like a syrup. A twist on this is you can use cider. So if you wanted to use chicken with a cider sauce, do exactly the same way with this, with the reduction of the wine or the cider. Once this is reduced enough, we'll add in the mushrooms, and we'll add in the stock. I'm just going to crack a part of the garlic in there now as well, so that could take on some flavour. And then what we'll do is we will reduce the stock down by half, and then we'll add some double cream at the end to reduce that down again, so you get that nice creamy sauce to go with the chicken when it's done. So now at the moment the chicken's just nicely poaching in here. It's just below boiling, so it's just sort of like 75-80 degrees that at the moment. So that's going well. We've got another 2.5 minutes on there. So there you go, I've been talking for nearly 6 minutes and didn't realise, so that's why I need the timer. So we'll get this pan ready now while it's warm. Just a splash of oil in there, ready. So this is cooking down. So this is reducing really nicely now. We won't need to add any salt because of the bacon at the moment. Add the salt at the end to taste because we don't know how salty the bacon is. If you wanted to reduce the salt content of the lardons of the bacon, you can always blanch them first if you're worried about salt content. But actually that's the point of the bacon, is the saltiness in there goes into the sauce. You certainly have to add less of this. We will. I'm just going to add some sprigs of thyme in there as well, just to give it some aromats. And the next job is one of my favourites. I'll tell you what, I'll get this tray. I've got some parsley, chives and spring onions. And this is the best job in any kitchen. It's peas, fresh peas, because whoever gets to do these gets to eat them. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I haven't bought plenty tonight, but I've bought enough just to do the dish. Honestly, these are the best things I can in a kitchen. We look forward to this time of year. Broad beans, peas, Jersey Royals, wild garlic, morel mushrooms, you name it. Unfortunately, this year we've been missing out on all these things. It's quite sad, but no worries. You can see what we're doing today, and you can hopefully go out there and collect all your bits and bobs for next year. Asparagus, which has just started to go out of season now, but again, English asparagus, it's the best in the world. Don't buy the stuff from Peru and South America because it's just not the same. It's just not as nice. It's very stringy. Now the white wine has just about disappeared there. It's almost going to like a nice syrupy, nice and syrupy in the bottom. I'm going to add the mushrooms in. And we're going to then now, while that's all white wine has disappeared, we're going to add in the stock. And we'll let that come up. Okay, timer's gone. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the fact that the timer's gone off. I'm going to sort that out in a moment. because I'm just going to get this this ready. Put my peas to one side for now. Right, so this is the fun bit. Out comes the chicken. So we're going to get these scissors and open them up.
Smells lovely, Chris.
Oh,
You're
great.
getting a blast when the wind goes
Really
this way.
good
Yeah,
stuff.
lovely.
Excellent. So what we've got here is we've got the chicken that's been rolled into a little small, what they call a ballantine, or like a sausage. It's set slightly, but you'll see that it is still slightly raw in the middle. That's absolutely fine. That is what we're looking for. We want it to just set, taking on all the flavours from the cling film. It's absolutely fine to cook with cling film. There's absolutely no problem whatsoever. Let's just check these potatoes. Yep, they're good. So we'll put these over here so they don't keep on cooking, so they can just take on their residual heat on the cloth. Right, so in this pan that's got the oil in, we'll swap these around. We'll get some butter on the go. So there's the vegetable stock I've got in here at the moment, or chicken stock, which is even better. It could go in the pan now, it starts to reduce down. We're going to take that down by halfway, so hopefully by the time we've cooked the chicken and rested it, this sauce will be just about ready to go as well. So fingers crossed, we all come together at the same time. So here we go. My nice new pan here, bit of foaming butter. Try and get a bit of colour on that butter now as well while we're doing it. I'm using unsalted butter because it actually helps to foam better and doesn't burn. You can find that the butter can burn sometimes if you're using salted. You just got to be careful. We'll put in some garlic, some thyme, and now the chicken. Okay, so season your chicken. And let that start to caramelise up in the pan. So I'll add another knob of butter. Don't be frightened of the butter. It's an essential part for this dish, but you're not going to be eating all this butter. But it's just to glaze this chicken with, get it finished cooking. But trust me, this will be the best chicken you ever have. This will revolutionise the way you cook chicken. We also do something else in the restaurant. We use, one of our secret ingredients is Marmite butter. We love Marmite butter. We brush every piece of fish or meat. We always finish it with the Marmite butter. If we're doing a naan bread for like a curry, we'll finish the naan bread with a little bit of Marmite butter on it. The reason is it's because it's the umami. Now, if you don't know what the umami is, do you know what the umami is?
Yeah, it's the sensory, the taste on the tongue that's only recently been discovered. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So we say recently discovered, but the Japanese and Chinese have known about it forever.
Mm.
So we're a little bit slow than them. So what it is it's the sixth sense of the tongue, which is right down the centre. So the other five senses, you've got the fifth sense of the tongue. Sorry, you've got the umami right down the middle of the tongue. Down the sides, you've got the sour. So when you're eating your tang fastics or a white wine, you get that sourness down here. When your salt is right on the tip of your tongue. So when you're doing tasting, you taste the salt first. And if you're doing beer tasting, that's where you taste the beer. Right behind the salt is the sugar. So you get the sweet just after the salt. So the tip of the tongue, salt, sugar, sour. And right at the back of the palate is bitter. Now, if you're a wine taster, that's fine because you can just do wine with, you can just taste your wine and spit it out and you get all the flavours. Unfortunately, if you're a beer taster, you have to swallow the beer because of the bitter at the back. You won't get the bitterness unless you swallow the beer. So if you're a beer taster, happy days. No spitting that out. Not that I would do anyway, but there you go. So
the wine.
Yeah. So now that this new thing that we've learned about the umami is that soy sauce is umami, Marmite is umami, and pickles and cabbage, fermented flavours, fermented vegetables is umami, which is what has been happening in the Far East for a long time. So we're massively behind. but it's okay. It's all good. We're learning, and we're doing much better now. So it's you'll find that on lots of restaurants you'll find that there is an umami element to the dishes. So the stock is now half reduced. So we're going to add in some double cream, and we'll let that finish. Just give that a stir. We'll let that reduce down. I'll just turn it up so we can finish at the same time. This chicken does smell great, actually.
It smells lovely.
Yeah. So we've got the thyme, garlic in there. Look how it's got nicely caramelising on the chicken itself. Yep, all good. Still on full blast. That's nice. So we've got the foam and butter. So what I'm doing here is I'm just basting the chicken with the butter, and what it's going to do is it's going to help put air through the butter so it doesn't burn, and it's going to be helps caramelise that as well on both sides. So it's actually cooking both sides of the chicken, the one in the pan, and as the hot butter goes over the top as well. And we're all looking good.
Yeah. So while I've got chance, Chris, I mean, it's nice to actually finally get to chat to you. We've crossed paths a few times, haven't we? But
yes.
yeah, how's lockdown treating you? How's it panning out, business and personal, whatever? How's it been treating you?
Personally, I've been drinking far more wine than I normally do, but I think that's pretty much standard.
Yeah.
But business-wise, it's been difficult. It's been tough for me and the team. We've been, we've gone from 100 miles an hour to 0 overnight, so it's been quite tough for us. But we're good. We're okay. We've been doing lots of work for the NHS. We've done over 3,500 packaged meals for the NHS workers, whether they're up at the Royal in the COVID ward and other wards. We've done it for Clay Cross, we've done it for Ash Green and for Darley-Dale as well. We've also been doing hampers for the locals, and recently we've just started doing takeaways as well. So fish and chips on Friday with pizzas, and curry night on Saturday.
Seeing
with
you've
pizzas.
just launched the curry night, haven't you?
Yeah, curry night happened this Saturday, which was good. But fish and chips went wild on Friday, but it's good. It's what we want. There used to be a chip-in barley many years ago, and the village lost that, so they're pretty happy to have it back. So,
I mean, going back to the NHS thing as well, I mean, just so people are clear on what you've actually been doing. Am I right in thinking there's been yourself, so you've been prepping the food, which has been provided by other companies, is that right? And then you take the deliveries up, and is it something you give to the NHS staff? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So, with the help of some of my suppliers, one of them who lives locally to here, fantastic guy, Martino from Dell'Italia, he's been giving us lots of his ingredients that he needs to use as it's going towards the best before date. It's daft really, because we know that a lot of the stuff is best before, not out of date. But we've been turning it into nice food with his help. Also, Highfield House Farm in Ashover, Stanage, have been donating some meats for us as well, and so have Country Fresh Foods from Sheffield. Adam has been very supportive as well, helping us with our mission to help feed the staff. So what we do is we get it in, we turn it into food, we vacuum pack it in portions so that the staff can either take it home at the end of a busy shift. Because I know, being a chef, that the last thing I want to do is start cooking when I get home, and I'm always hungry. And I just end up having a ham sandwich. But if you've got something nice and wholesome to take home after the shift, then it's great. Or they have it at work. So that's what we've been doing. So it's been quite good. So we've enjoyed doing that as well. And I think the staff have enjoyed having it. So it's just a nice thing to do.
Yeah, sounds like a really great bonding thing as well for the pulling together, the community spirit. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I totally agree. So I'm just going to take these out of the pan, because what I'm going to do is, I think all Jersey Royals need to be have a lot of butter on them, I'm afraid. One of my things is, you're going to think, God, how much butter is he using? Well, if you're going to do a nice meal for someone, make sure it is really nice. So these are nice and hot. Don't forget, potatoes don't need to be boiling. You don't actually taste the potato if it's red hot. They need to be sort of around about 70 degrees so you can appreciate the flavours of the potato. I've just put them back in the pan with some butter, pinch of rock salt in there. Stick to it. Chicken is beautifully caramelised now. We're just going to finish it off with some butter on this side. Quite hot, that handle, so I'm just going to... There we go. All that flavour in the pan, the garlic, the thyme, the lemon zest, the tarragon in there as well, and it does taste amazing when it's done, trust me. So we're going to take this out now because that's ready. We'll get the tongs, we'll put that on here and we'll rest it for the moment. We'll pour over all the juices. Okay, if you want it to be really bad, and you can use this, you can put your Jersey oils in there just to take on the extra flavours. I've got the sauce is almost done, so we're going to add a little bit of Dijon mustard in there as well, just to give it a tad of acidity. We'll turn that down. It's nearly there actually. And then we'll start to plate up. Have you got any more questions, Rich?
I was just about to ask actually how you kind of, I've noticed as we've gone through it, like you've just said at the end there, to add the acidity to it, and just noticed how you're talking very much about the science of food and the formula, if you like, of the different elements. And is that something that you really, I mean, as a chef, you're going to really enjoy that, but it's obviously of a certain level of chef.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if you tell us a bit more about that and the importance of it.
Well, I worked in London for some top chefs, Gordon Ramsay and Marcus Waring. I worked at the Greenhouse as well in London. I set up my first restaurant with my friend Paul Ainsworth, who's still going down there with Number 6, who's incredibly successful. And then I decided to move home in 2009 and did some work in between in various places, and then set up the Tickled Trout in 2014. I do believe that we've learned along the way that all this nice rich food is all good, but you do need acidity in everything because the palate starts to get bored. So if you don't have that acidity, like Tang Fast, I always say this, you want more. If it was just sugar, your palate would get overwhelmed. But that acidity just makes you want to come back. So that's what we're doing here. We always add a bit of acidity to the dish, whether it's mustard or white wine vinegar or sherry vinegar at the end or something. It always needs that acidity. So that's really important. So that's why we do it. So yes, in terms of these are the sort of things you learn in top levels as well. And it's important to remember. Do you find it fascinating? Bit of parsley in here. Do you find it fascinating how when you've been somewhere to have something to eat and you say you're full, but you can always fit in a dessert?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The reason for that is, the science behind that is that your brain starts to become full on the savoury part of what you're eating. And however, it still craves the sugar for the glucose, because your brain starts to go to ketosis almost, so it craves the sugar part, the glucose, to activate the brain and to keep you awake. So you've always got that part of your brain that still wants the sugar, even though your tummy feels full, because that's the part of your tummy that said, your brain that says, like, I've had enough salt and savoury. I still need some sugar though, no matter how full you are. You'll always be able to fit in a dessert. So don't tell off your kids if they say they want a dessert after they say they're full when they're not eating everything, because that's not fair.
It's actually science at work.
It's actually science, yeah.
Yeah.
So if any kids listen to this, then they can actually back chat you, and sorry. So I've added some chives and some parsley into the sauce. What I'm going to do is we'll get these Jersey oils out, because they are amazing. You must always, do. I'm not going to worry about the presentation too much on these, because it's more like this is a dish that you can do at home. This is what we're doing. It's not such a restaurant dish, but please take advantage of Jersey oils while you can, because they're just such an amazing thing to have, and we should really, really cherish them, and don't do too much with them. Just simply boil in butter with rock salt. Absolutely delicious. Right, I'll just take that off and put that there. Okay, peas are ready. So. So what, I'll get those in a minute. So let's start with the chicken. So we'll just cut down. And you can see that it's perfectly white inside. Look how juicy that is. If I squeeze that, see all the juice is running out. And that's because we brined it and poached it. And now we're just going to carve it, and all those flavours are on the outside. Another thing you can have with this dish is a beautiful cavolo nero or kale at the moment as well. I'll just get my mini sieve out so I can scoop these peas out. Clearly I forgot this weekend, for the demo that we're doing, I needed a sieve, but it doesn't matter. We'll just. And again, English garden peas, there's nothing better. Absolutely nothing better. There we go, just sprinkle them over the top.
Yeah, lovely, nice green colour, aren't they? What it adds to the dish.
Yeah. And again, don't you know, just put them in warm water and let them float, and that's it. They're done. You get that nice crunchiness to them. Absolutely beautiful. And like I was saying, you know, you can have some really nice cavolo nero, kale, asparagus when it's in season. And now we're just going to do down this side this pancetta, white wine, mushroom sauce, which is honestly incredible. We've got some wild garlic pesto that I made in the spring. Again, you can get recipes from us. Wild garlic pesto is something you must do when you're ready to go back out foraging in the spring again. And then last but not least, we've got the wild garlic oil. So I'm just going to clean the plate from drips from the peas. The wild garlic oil, beautiful green oil over the top like that. And that is stunning. We'll add a little bit of spring onions just to give it a bit of extra flavour in there of the springtime. And there you go. That's the Tickled Trout's poached chicken. You can do that at home. It's dead easy to do. You'll love it when you do it, and I will revolutionise the way you cook chicken from now on. So impress your family and go for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
And thanks for that, Chris. Yeah, masterclass. Wonderful. Look forward to you coming back. Please come back.
Will do. I will do. Thank you very much.